Benavidez came out and said, "This is the fight you all really want to see. I will go through anybody to get Canelo if that's what needs to be done. I will be ready when my opportunity comes, and I will guarantee to make a war and not run around the way Smith did, laugh out loud." So obviously Canelo Alvarez, he's looking to fight Avini next for the WBC belt, to defend his belt that he took from Benavidez, but he won't fight his own people, his own countrymen. Remember, Benavidez is happened to be Mexican, just like Canelo. But when it comes to Canelo, it's not just NBF, no black fighters. It's also NMF, no Mexican fighters that could actually fight. See, Canelo don't mind fighting a guy like a Chavez Jr., who's Mexican, but doesn't have the skills to pay the bills. He don't mind fighting a Lopez, a countryman of his that could fight, but it's too little. They had to move up 2 weight divisions. He don't mind fighting an Angulo. But when it comes to a Benavidez, a real challenge, oh, he want to fight Avini instead, a fighter coming off a loss. How you feel about that?
First off, it's trash. It's strictly trash. The thing that's starting to scare me, man, it's just he has a problem with tall fighters who have like certain ring IQ. When it comes to Benavidez, Andre, and Charlo, all three of those, one thing is in common. Not only do they have a counter punching ability, but they can hurt you with the jab. I really think he's running, bro. Every fight I see, he gets popped with the jab, but nobody has true punching power. But the main thing is just, it's sad, bro. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and yet and still, like you say, on this old media, they just portray him as the top. You got the Zone, who, like you say, they just completely just Buddy, the commentator, just has completely just been disrespectful of Demetrius. But at the same time, they sit here and get Canelo all this love. At the end of the day, he cherry picks his fights, man.
But to cherry pick Avini, that's another scale of cherry pick, is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
he requested Avini. I don't know if Canelo is the WBC president or something, because he requested witness protection when it came to Charlo. He requested a WBC belt to avoid a Charlo, right? But now he requested Avini to fight for Benavidez strap. What sense does that make? Why not bring back the old tradition, the Mexican heritage of the best Mexican fighters versus the best Mexican fighters like Barrera Morales, Marquez, and all the above, the toe-to-toe action wars? And Benavidez promised us that he's going to give us a war. Benavidez promised us he's going to give us a war. He said that I'm not going to.
He don't have the cojones.
He don't got what?
Those guys had the cojones. You look back in the day, like made men. The men had they had something to stand on. Canelo, man, I'm sick of trying to be nice, man. Canelo, he don't have it, bro. He's one of those altered genetic Hispanic. He doesn't have it. He don't have that true warrior like the other ones do. Yeah, I'm talking about jump.
So you saying he's Irish? So you saying he Irish? You don't even believe he Mexican? You don't believe he got that Mexican heart? You believe he's Irish or something?
Don't he have orange hair?
He do.
All right. I only knew Irish that had orange hair. I don't know Hispanics that have orange hair like that unless it's a woman. But I'm not gonna get into politics. Man, it's just a business decision with Canelo. If Benavidez want to fight him out, like you say, all you gotta do is he just gotta look bad in this next fight. Look bad, don't swing, and that's the blueprint. Yeah. Anybody who he's fought, and another side note too that I want to make, because they killing me with this, because I have a few people talk about it too, but I'm gonna get back on subject. When it comes to Derichenko, they need to stop that, because Derichenko really, I watched it a few months ago just to highlight. He low-key gave Gennady Golovkin a run for his money. It looked like a slight it looked like a robbery to me.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna just be honest. So that's another reason why I feel like that too.
Yeah, he treated Gennady Golovkin like a punching bag, and you got DAZN coming out claiming Gennady Golovkin the best middleweight in the world. You know, and
the whole point
the disrespect happened to be another Mexican, because I understand if Canelo, he don't want to fight any black fighters, NBF, no black fighters, but why NMF, no Mexican fighters. Why? When that's the Mexican heritage. I mean, throughout the years, we've seen the Barrera Morales, them always been some of the most classic, legendary fights as far as action-packed, the Hagler Hearns, so on and so forth. That's them type of fights, the toe-to-toe action. Why Canelo won't fight a guy like David Benavidez, who's calling him out respectfully, and happened to be another great Mexican champion?
Because he ain't got no Mexican blood. You know, he's just acting like a typical ducker in boxing, and it's really disappointing because he doesn't want to admit, defeat when he knows that, like, you already got your ass beat by Floyd. So it's like, if you get your ass beat by David Benavidez, then what? Does that just show, like, you're just not as good as you said that you were? And then on top of that, you were just fighting a bunch of nobodies before you came over to America to fight Floyd, and you got embarrassed. And then you were actually let the ace out of that fight. So either way, it's like, you have nothing to lose if you lose again. That's pretty much like the nature of all sports. Like, everybody has to lose and win in order to get better.
Right. And so is Canelo, what is he, Irish or something? I mean, obviously he got the Irish look to him. I mean, if he ain't Mexican, he got to be Irish or something, man. In order for him to show that he got that Mexicano cojones, he going to have to hop in the ring with another Mexican fighter like Benavidez. A guy his size, a guy that could fight. You know what I mean? I don't want to see him fight a Chavez Jr. or a guy 2 weight divisions below him. We got to see him against somebody that could fight from Mexico City. We have to put the bar a little bit lower. When Canelo's talking about fighting Avini next, Caleb Smith is a great opponent compared to an Avini, right? The WBC came out and said that Canelo Alvarez is going to have to defend his title against Avini next. So that just lets you know they gave him a Christmas present. Christmas came early for Canelo. They gave him the WBC belt at 168 without him having to go through a guy like David Benavidez. So in order for him to get that belt, they gave it to him and told him he has to defend the title against Avini next. A guy coming off a loss that lost to Darrell, who David Benavidez beat in order to get the world title. So that makes literally no sense at all. That's why I said it's an early Christmas gift for Canelo Alvarez, because Canelo's doing nothing to earn that title. He's not fighting David Benavidez next or planning to. He's planning to fight Avini under his own request. Canelo Alvarez requested to fight Avini, a fighter coming off a loss. It's not the WBC who brought Avini out of the mud and told him, okay, you deserve a Canelo opportunity. Nah, it's Canelo who picked Avini. Matter of fact, that's his own sparring partner, right? Now, name me any fighter in the game that's supposedly pound for pound number one, that's personally requesting to fight a fighter coming off a loss for a strap.
I can't name one, not even Tim Crawford.
In history, forget.
I can't even name one in history. I can't even name one in history.
You can't, because
not even one.
There's no one that could claim that they are pound for pound number one. However, they want to cherry pick a fighter coming off a loss for a strap without fighting the champion, David Benavidez, who also happened to be Mexican. That's why David Benavidez came out and said that he criticized Canelo. And he said, Canelo Alvarez, he's fighting Caleb Smith. That's cool. But he gave him a 4-week notice. How you give a guy like Caleb Smith a 4-week notice? He was just negotiating with Caleb Plant, right? And out of nowhere, negotiations, they took a left turn, and he announced the Caleb Smith fight. In 4-week notice, he notified Caleb Smith he will be officially fighting him. That's ridiculous.
That's just sad.
When David Benavidez received a lot of backlash, he came out and said, okay, well, to all the Canelo fans that is trying to act like that's all cool, fine. You know what I'm going to do? David Benavidez said, my next opponent, I'm only going to give him a 3-week notice. You know what I'm saying? Said, since that's cool, it's okay. David Benavidez said, since it's cool to notify your opponent 4 weeks in, 3 weeks in, he said, I'm going to give my opponent 3-week notice as well. If that's the case, if you guys trying to justify that. And I really wonder what David Benavidez think about this Avini situation, since he's a fighter that got stripped of his belt, not because of he lost in the ring. Absolutely not. It's just because he couldn't make the weight. Now, there's been fighters that lost belts for worst case scenarios than that. For example, Canelo Alvarez himself, he took steroids in the past. Billy Joe Saunders, he took steroids in the past, and he had to give up the belt. That's a bigger situation. That's a bigger deal than just not making weight. I'd rather you not make weight because you've been partying too much or you're not taking the sport as serious because your natural gift abilities, you're relying on them more than you should. But nevertheless, I could give you a pass for that. I will never lose respect for a fighter that can't make weight because he's partying too much, because that's a situation I could understand personally. But I will automatically lose respect for a fighter that tests positive for albuterol or any steroids, PED, so on and so forth. But you see Billy Joe Saunders. No, you see Billy Joe Saunders.
Yeah. Steroids, PEDs, yeah.
He failed for PEDs against Andrade, and you see him. He got a world title at 168 now. He's a world champion. They gave him another opportunity, so on and so forth, right? You see Canelo Alvarez, he went through the same thing. They acted like, matter of fact, when it came to Canelo Alvarez, the WBC increased the albuterol limit a fighter could have in his system. So now supposedly Canelo could eat contaminated meat and be legally able to fight because he will be able to pass the test he's being put under, right? On the other hand, David Benavidez, he just couldn't make the weight just one time, and now automatically they trying to rob him of his belt because he's still the #1 ranked WBC fighter at 168. However, some way, somehow, AKHi, who's coming off a loss, he's going to get the opportunity.
Hold it. You're not that pretty. I'm a bad man. Wait. I took up the world. I took up the world.
I bear witness, there's only one God, Allah, and Muhammad is his final messenger. That's what I said, Larry, on the Bungle fight. Thanking you.
They call me the problem, but you could call me the can man, because anybody can get it. Africans, Americans, Dominicans, Mexicans, anybody can get it.